While millions of people are glued to their screens, screaming at the TV, painting their faces in team colours, and feeling utterly devastated because 11 strangers lost a game, there's a huge group who simply couldn't care less, and according to neuroscience, their brains might genuinely be wired in a different way. Stick with me. This is going to flip how you look at the sports-obsessed people in your life. Here's the thing no one really talks about. Not caring about sports doesn't make you boring. It doesn't mean you lack passion, and it absolutely doesn't mean something's wrong with you. But something fascinating is happening in your brain that's completely different from the roughly 60% of Americans who follow sports religiously. Let's start with the obvious. Why do so many people care so intensely? Humans are tribal creatures by nature. For thousands of years, belonging to a group literally meant survival. Your tribe protected you from predators, helped you hunt, and kept you alive. Sports today are basically modern tribes, with better merchandise. When fans watch their team, their brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same chemical that makes you feel love for your family. Wild, isn't it? Their brain tricks them into treating these millionaire athletes like they're part of their own clan. But here's where it gets really interesting. People who don't obsess over sports often have lower tribal instincts. Their sense of identity isn't as tightly linked to group belonging. They're more individualistic. They're more likely to think, I don't need to attach myself to something bigger to feel whole. There's actual research backing this up. A 2019 study found that individuals with low interest in sports displayed significantly less us versus them thinking. They don't automatically dislike the opposing team just because it's not theirs. It gets even stranger when you look at what's happening in a sports fanatic's brain during a game. You know that rush right before opening a gift, that anticipation, that's dopamine firing. Sports fans get the same hit every play, every possession. Constant microdoses of anticipation and reward. It's legitimately addictive. fMRI studies show that watching your team activates the same reward centers as gambling or other highly compelling behaviors. And the real hook? Uncertainty. You never know if your team will win. That unpredictability keeps the dopamine pumping. It's intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive reward schedule psychology knows. The same principle that makes slot machines impossible to walk away from. Your brain doesn't care much about the source of the dopamine, it just craves more. For people who don't care about sports, their dopamine systems simply aren't triggered by vicarious competition. And this might even be genetic. Research from the University of Chicago suggests that variations in dopamine receptor genes can predict how much someone cares about competitive spectator activities. So your total indifference to whether the Lakers win or lose, it could literally be coded in your DNA. But there's another layer. Sports fans experience basking in reflected glory. When their team wins, they say, "We won." When it loses, it's suddenly, "They lost." Notice the pronoun shift. People who don't obsess over sports are less prone to this psychological distancing. Their self-concept stays more consistent. They don't need external victories to feel successful. Their self-esteem is more stable and less tied to things completely beyond their control. Before the comments section erupts, I'm not claiming one side is better than the other. I'm just saying there are real psychological differences, and understanding them is fascinating. Here's something that might sound contradictory. Sports fans often score higher on certain empathy measures. They practice caring deeply about other people's struggles, even when those people are strangers wearing the opposing jersey. So why don't non-sports people feel that same empathy toward athletes? It's about empathy allocation. We all have a finite capacity for deep emotional investment. Sports non-fans tend to direct theirs elsewhere, towards social causes, personal relationships, creative projects, or intellectual pursuits. A 2021 study found that people with low sports interest scored significantly higher in openness to experience and appreciation for art and beauty. They're getting their emotional highs from music, nature, ideas, literature. Their brains are chasing the same rewards: meaning, connection, transcendence, just from different sources. And let's be real, for some, not caring about sports is a defense mechanism. Maybe they were bullied in gym class. Maybe sports culture excluded them. Maybe they're rejecting the aggressive competitiveness that often comes with fandom. Maybe they simply never understood why grown adults lose their minds over a ball on TV. Your indifference might have a backstory. Or maybe it's just boring to you. Both are completely valid. But this explains so much about why sports fans and non-fans sometimes struggle to understand each other. It boils down to how we find meaning. Sports fans thrive on narrative. The underdog story, the epic comeback, the dynasty, the rivalry. It's compelling because it's unpredictable. Real-life drama with genuine stakes. Non-sports people often see that randomness as meaningless. They think, why invest emotionally in an outcome I can't influence, performed by strangers in a game that doesn't impact my actual life? Neither side is wrong. It's just two different ways of satisfying the human need for story and meaning. One finds epic narrative in a championship run. The other finds it in a novel, a deep relationship, a creative project, or a scientific breakthrough. Researchers call this parasocial investment versus direct engagement. Sports fans form one-sided bonds with teams and players. Non-sports people prefer putting emotional energy where there's real reciprocity, where their care actually influences the outcome, where they're participants, not just spectators. Neither approach is superior. They're different strategies for navigating the human experience. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who studied optimal experience, found that flow states, those moments of total absorption, can come from countless activities. For some, it's watching sports. For others, it's literally anything else. And here's what's quietly powerful. People who don't obsess over sports often report feeling more present in their own lives. They're not spending 3 hours every Sunday living someone else's struggle. They're fully engaged in their own. That's a subtle but radical choice. So what does it all add up to? If you don't care about sports, you're not missing some essential human experience. You're just different. Your brain's reward system, tribal instincts, empathy allocation, they're calibrated in their own way, and that's perfectly okay. The next time someone asks, "Did you catch the game?" and you genuinely couldn't care less, remember, you're not broken, you're not boring, you're just playing a different game, one that might, just maybe, have higher stakes. If this hit home for you, you're going to love the video on why quiet people process information completely differently, and why that could be your biggest advantage. Check out one of these videos right here to see why you think a little differently from the crowd. Let me know in the comments, are you team sports are life, or team couldn't care less? And why? I read every single one.